There was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and a nightingale sang in Berkeley.
Afternoon tea has always held a special place in British culture. Even during the darkest times, through war, rations, and uncertainty, tea remained a symbol of comfort and resilience. It wasn't just a drink, it was a ritual, a small luxury, and often a moment of peace amidst chaos. During wartime, tea was considered essential and was rationed carefully. On the battlefield, a warm cup of tea could do wonders for a soldier's morale. At home, housewives continued to host modest gatherings, discussing news from the front, offering support to one another, and finding strength in community. Despite the many challenges, traditional afternoon tea with its dainty sandwiches, biscuits, and cakes was still possible, thanks to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the women of the time, who not only looked after their own households and children, but often entire communities and wartime industries as well. In this episode, I'm not just preparing a tea party, I'm recreating the mindset of a wartime housewife. I want to show what went through her mind as she carefully planned, measured, and portioned every ingredient. Every ounce mattered. Every slice had to count. And behind each decision, there was thoughtful calculation, quiet sacrifice, and a desire to still make things feel special for others. Today, I'm hosting an afternoon tea for 4 adults and 1 child. Myself, my granny, and 3 of my friends, whose children are at school, and of course my little Johnny, who is 2.5. Let me take you through what I've prepared and share the quiet mental math that guided each choice. I begin with corned beef sandwiches, 2 slices of bread cut into 4 pieces, 1 piece per adult. Johnny won't have any since he's not fond of corned beef, especially with mustard. I slice the bread and corned beef as thinly as possible, while still making it feel like a treat. A modest spread of butter. The small chunk has to last me another 4 days. Corned beef was linked to the meat rations. I like using it. It's affordable, stretches well, and can be transformed into sandwiches, fritters, or rissoles. I spread it carefully to cover the surface, adding just a touch of mustard for flavor, knowing it's in very short supply and might not return to the shelves.
And even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be me, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do. For nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still.
Next on the menu, I have cheese sandwiches with homemade plum chutney. The plums were gathered from the park a few months ago, if you remember. The small moments of planning like this make a difference now. I'm very glad that I made that chutney back then, because now I really need it. I grate the cheese instead of slicing it. This makes it go further, spreads more evenly, and gives the illusion of more. Under rationing, adults receive 2 ounces of cheese per week, children just 1. With 2 adults and a child, we've got 5 ounces to stretch across meals. 5 ounces, that's about 125 grams of cheese. And I already know exactly where the rest of cheese will go. The chutney is rich and sweet. A light smear of butter helps keep cheese in one place, and I make sure each triangle of bread gets an equal amount of cheese. I cut them into 4 pieces again. I will skip this sandwich, so I won't have it during my afternoon tea meal today. And I give it to Johnny instead, because he doesn't like corned beef, but I do like it, so I'll have that sandwich and he will have the cheese sandwich.
A star fell out of heaven right into my arms. A star fell out of heaven right into my dreams. And since that very moment,
I also baked eggless scones, just with few raisins each. 1 per guest, with 2 extra for whoever is a little hungry. Most likely me or Johnny, because we will only have a triangle of sandwich. If not, they'll be for lunch tomorrow. There are also a handful of strawberries from the garden, more for decoration than nutrition, 2 per person if they like. I've added a few dried flowers as well for decoration, just on top of my plate. When the food isn't abundant or visually appealing, I always try to elevate the presentation. A beautiful table lifts morale and makes the simplest offerings feel like a feast. Now for the tea. Lion's tea is like gold, rationed at 2 ounces, which is 50 grams per adult per week. It never feels like enough. I brew 1 strong teaspoon in a pot and let it steep until it's dark. Then I pour just a little into each cup, top up with hot water and add a splash of milk. My guests understand. They too ration every cup. They'll taste the tea and know its value. I also have coffee, a rare luxury, gifted to me through work. I translate wartime correspondence and documents, important work these days. Sometimes that comes with small privileges, things not found in shops anymore unless through the black market. I will also serve homemade strawberry jam to go with my scones, made from fruit picked in the garden, and a spiced eggless cake with wholemeal flour, finely chopped raisins, cinnamon and nutmeg. I'm using up the very last of my pre-war spice stock. It's sliced thinly so everyone can have a few pieces. If any is left by the end, it'll be a miracle. For this special gathering, I've even taken out my wedding teaspoons, a treasured gift I only use on meaningful and special occasions. Now it's time to sit, eat and enjoy, but always with awareness. We are mindful of our portions, though no one needs reminding. It is an unspoken rule. Every woman here is a housewife too, and like me, she instinctively calculates what is fair, what is enough. This is how we live now, with less, but not with less care. We still find joy in good company, in thoughtful meals, in the little things. And when we have more than expected, we are quietly and deeply grateful to God. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this inspires you to appreciate the art of doing more with less,